Blog Talk Radio.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.
And welcome to Superhero Academy. This is your host, Crossfire the Crusader. I have online with me our visiting professor, our very special guest this week, Tonya Kay. Many of us know her as Creature from the show Who Wants to Be a Superhero? And looking forward to an awesome show today, Tonya. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Crossfire. Hi, Superhero Academy. Hi, everybody. I'm Tonya Kay. Thanks for having me on the show.
Also online, I've got Sonic Eagle. And I've got area code 352. Who have I got there? Hello, area code 352. You're on Superhero Academy. There must be some issues there. Well, I want to go ahead and jump right into things here. We asked you to come on the show because, as I told you earlier, you are just a busy person. I seem to know you from the show Who Wants to Be a Superhero, but since that day we've seen you doing kind of amazing environmental work, and you're not one of these very practical in things you do. You're very hands-on. First off, of course, I want to touch base. To look at you, you wouldn't think that you were a mechanic, but you are a mechanic because you're doing work converting cars to burn on vegetable oil. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's really difficult to hear you, but I think you're talking about my car running on vegetable oil, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So,
Sonic Eagle again.
What'd you say?
How's that? I had to mute Sonic Eagle again. I'm getting some wind interference there.
Yeah. Well, my car, I've converted 2 cars to run on vegetable oil. While everybody's complaining about gas prices, I figured I'd actually do something about it. And this isn't new technology. We don't have to wait for, the man to give us the gift of alternative fuels. They exist now. And actually, if you're willing to do the work and kind of step outside of the box of society and what we're sold and what we're told is okay to consume, then you can have free fuel. Not only is it free fuel, but it's environmental. It's carbon neutral, and it's essentially something that could go in your groundwater and you could drink. I don't want to drink waste vegetable oil, but honestly, people eat it right before I go to the restaurant and collect it. So that's what I do. I go to the restaurants, and people are eating this stuff. I don't eat it. I'm a raw vegan. And after working with waste vegetable oil, I'm very happy that I don't eat this stuff because I'm very hands-on with it. But, yeah, you collect the oil from any restaurant that deep fries. If it's a vegetarian restaurant, the oil is usually cleaner, which saves me a bunch of work. Or if they just generally are a healthy restaurant and they change their oil frequently, then the oil will be much cleaner too, which saves me a bunch of work. And then I pre-filter and had a minor conversion done to my car, and then I get to run on waste vegetable oil and not complain about gas prices.
And, simple things like that. We point out on Superhero Academy that everybody has something to learn and everybody has something to teach. And I listened to you talking about converting that. You know, I grew up in a garage. My dad was a mechanic. My grandpa was a mechanic. My uncle was a mechanic. So how I avoided becoming a mechanic, I don't know. But the process of that just boggles my mind. And I know it's a simple conversion because I've done some research on it. And it is. I mean, that waste oil is collected, it has to be stored somewhere or dumped somewhere. And by converting it into fuel, you're just doing so much in such a simple way. That's just an amazing thing. I've got my caller back 352. You're on Superhero Academy.
Hey, it's Amazonia.
Hey, Amazonia. Welcome to the Academy. Welcome back. I knew that number looked familiar. Now, Tonya, if I call you Creature, please forgive me because I am definitely a fan of Creature. And the show Who Wants to Be a Superhero. That's what led me to create the character Crossfire in the first place.
Yay! Yay!
Now,
Thank you.
I do have a question about the conversion.
Uh-huh.
Is that just for diesel vehicles, or can it be done with gas vehicles too?
No, you got to start with a diesel engine because they run. The diesel engine was originally invented by Rudolf Diesel in the late 1800s, and he ran it on hydrocarbons of many sorts, like peanut oil and soy oil, and so it's kind of like taking the diesel engine back to its roots, but the gasoline engine does not work the same. So start with a diesel. You know, Mercedes, Volkswagen. A lot of people manufacture diesels still. It's just come back into California. We can sell diesels again. So there was this big vacancy of diesels out here. If it wasn't a semi-truck or a F1 350 or whatever, it probably wasn't diesel. But now that's not the case anymore. Diesels are starting to be sold even in California. So they're going to get more and more common. You know, you could buy them resale, for example, which is what I like anyway.
Yes, that's what I thought. I just wanted to check.
Yeah, diesel engines.
I got Sonic Eagle. I got you unblocked again there. It seems like we're not having the issues we're having. Hello?
Yeah.
I guess I've lost Sonic Eagle. Never mind. Now, you know, Tonya, right after the second season, Who Wants to Be a Superhero, I actually, you were one of the first people I actually wrote a story for. It was kind of a little fan fiction I did for Creature. That was a very fun thing. In the process, that's when I got to see some of your environmental work that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about some of the different projects you're involved in for the environment. Just give us kind of an overview.
Oh, thanks. Well, as you know, I'm an artist, and I like to combine art and environment and health as much as possible because that's who I am. So it's like a full circle of, you know, who I'm supposed to be in my life. And right now, I write weekly for an online magazine called EcoHearth, EcoHearth.com, EcoHearth, and you can find I write about health topics and environmental topics. And recently, I've been covering some volunteer work that I do with endangered species over in Thailand. I've done this several times. I've done 3 different programs, and you know, I'm a traveler at heart, and I can't stop moving. And I've been traveling the world my whole life, but I really want to feel good about what I did when I leave because I know jet fuel is extremely environmentally polluting, and a lot of times tourists just go to different countries and they'll kind of exploit the resources and pretty much isolate themselves from the culture that they're actually trying to visit. And that didn't sit well with me. You know, that's not how I lead my life at home, and I don't want to do that when I'm overseas either. So I discovered something called volunteer tourism, and now that I know this exists, it's changed the way I travel forever because I've gotten to go hands-on and make a difference in endangered species life, in a culture's existence, even politically, and it feels really good when you leave. It's a whole different type of vacationing. You feel like the Grinch who stole Christmas, whose heart just swells like 10 times bigger after that Christmas morning with the Who's, you know. And that's me now that I travel and do volunteer work. I've volunteered recently with the Elephant Nature Foundation and I did 2 programs over there in Thailand just recently. I just got back. One's called Elephant Nature Park, and that's very hands-on. You get to go work with the elephants instead of riding them and requiring that they paint pictures for you or perform for you, which are highly abusive. And this is an endangered species, people, so we need to take extra care. I don't think we should be abusing animals no matter what, but when it's an endangered species, it's a whole other thing. It's like, 5 years, this entire species, the Asian elephant, could be gone if we don't pay really close attention right now. Now is not the time to go ride them or abuse them into painting pictures. So you go to the Elephant Nature Park, and you basically get to volunteer, work your butt off. You work in the fields, you build buildings, permaculture buildings, and you also bathe the elephants. You get hands-on interaction with elephants that are just dictated by the elephants, basically. You get to feed them, you get to bathe them, and you get to watch them, and just being in the presence of this being really reiterates how important it is to have them on this earth for as long as possible.
Being there with an elephant, too. I know when I saw the picture of you with the elephant, I remember, there's been 2 occasions in my life. Once there was a elephant sanctuary in northern Arkansas that gets retired zoo and elephant, circus elephants, and kind of puts them in a preserve area. And this gentleman used to come down to the flea market and stuff, and he would bring one of the elephants and talk about it. And, of course, he did the rides with them and such like that, but you got to interact with it. And then a few years back, I actually was a guest clown with one of the circuses that came through the town. And I cannot explain just when you're standing there and you're interacting with the elephant, you got your hand on his side, and the power of this thing, it's like a forklift with a smile, it's, they're so amazing. And this animal could just crush you to pieces, but it's like it wants to give you a big hug. They're just so great.
They're really intelligent. They are massively intelligent. They're super social. So anytime you go to a zoo or a circus and you see one elephant, that would be like having one human change their whole life. They're as social and as family-oriented as humans are, for sure. And they actually are one of the only 3 species that I know of at all that pass this human-created self-identity test. So most animals, when you show them a mirror, like a dog will bark into the mirror like it's looking at another dog or something. But chimpanzees and humans and elephants, if you paint a spot of paint on their cheek, they will look into the mirror and reach up and touch their own cheek to wipe it off. So that shows an amazing amount of self-awareness that we haven't proven that all species have, but we have, related to elephants in that way. So they're self-aware. They have death rituals. They're super family-oriented and super intelligent. Their memories are excellent. This is not just a cliche. Their memories are excellent. And, and as big as they are, the largest land mammal, they are some of the most gentle beings I've ever been near. They will go out of their way to make sure they don't step on you, or a little dog that's running around their feet obnoxiously. They'll go out of their way to make sure they don't hurt anyone. And it's just a big lesson. It's a big lesson to be near them.
Oh yeah, you got to experience it to understand it, I guess. You've only seen them on TV and movies, such like that. It's not real until you're standing there beside them. I mean, I got a picture with me and my clown gear, and I'm holding on to the tusk, and it was just the power and the awesomeness, and just it was so cool. They're just such amazing animals, and of course, on behalf of the whole world, I thank you for what you do with them and such like that. That's just an amazing mission that you took on there. Now I've got my area code 3. You're back online. Is that the Sonic Eagle again?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, good. Yeah, thank you. Now, anybody that has a call, this is Superhero Academy. We're here with Tonya Kay, a.k.a. Creature from Who Wants to Be a Superhero. A very amazing woman as our visiting professor this week, and we're going to be learning a lot. If you have a question for Tonya, please call 917-889-3317. You are welcome to be part of the show. Again, 917-889-3317. I've got quite a few people in the chat room already. If you have questions there, you can add that to it, leave it on. John, several guests. I think where Tonya is in the chat room also. You can ask her there as well. I've got area code 504. You're on Superhero Academy. Area code 504. He gave up. Maybe he'll call back. Tonya, tell me about Burning Man.
Tell you about Burning Man? It's the largest, it's an international intentional community that sets up in the middle of the Nevada desert for 1 week every year for the last 30-some years. It's a no-trace event. There's no garbage cans. And basically in celebration of art, ritual, and an alternative way to live. You know, maybe I look at it like a big experiment, and it's a social experiment where people are like, hey, what if we don't need money? What if nothing's for sale and nothing's advertised, and that's actually taboo? What if we have to pick up and be responsible to everything that we bring in? Like, we can't even leave a bottle cap. What if we all express ourselves in the most outstanding fashion possible? And the only taboos you have are basically don't hurt anyone else and don't destroy anybody's property. But you can burn their property. No, just kidding. But basically, like, don't be violent. Like, that's the taboo. And I don't know. I look at it like an intentional experimental community based on art and expression.
That's another one of those things. I guess you really have to be there to grasp the whole totality of it, I guess. As far as I mean, you're the only person I supposed to be in there, but I've seen the pictures, I've seen the videos, but it's like you're just getting a taste of it, just like a little sample, like one of the little scoops you get at Baskin Robbins, you know.
What did you say? You've seen some, just enough to get a taste of it?
I've seen the pictures, just enough to get a taste. It's like when you get that little sample at Walmart and you walk in there, when you're going to try this, and it's not enough to get the whole thing, you know. But I do know, I knew you were a part of that, and of course, it does send a positive message every year because, you know, it is, like you said, a no-trace event. A lot of activist types are able to get out there and get their message out, and they're able to prove that you can do things like this and not destroy things in the process, and that's a very positive message as well. Now, we got about 12 minutes.
Go ahead, Crossfire.
Try to call in, and they keep going away. If you want to talk to Tonya Kay, ask a couple of questions. We've got about 12 minutes left on the show. The area code is 917-889-3317, and we will be taking callers. And now, Tonya, go ahead. Tell us some more about it. You've got so many irons in the fire. Tell us about, you know, even the work you get coming up. Like next week is the video game reunion.
Yeah, if you like superheroes, if you like comics, if you like gamer action, I am starring in a wild comedy. It breaks all the rules. It's called Video Game Reunion, and it's basically a parody on what if all of your favorite video game characters from, say, Nintendo days, like 1980s, Mario Brothers and Zelda and Kid Icarus, and what if they were played by actors, which they are. Video game characters are played by actors. And what would happen to those actors 20 years later? 30 years later, I guess, now. So I play Princess Peach, and she is just a great parody of, she's a hot mess. She's nasty. You want to see me be nasty and awesome, as nasty as I want to be? This is the character I want to play. VideoGameReunion.com. You can watch it there. It premieres this Tuesday, March 8th, and you can watch it on VideoGameReunion.com, Adam.com, or GameTrailers.com. And you're going to see all of your favorite old-school characters like Mario and Luigi and Kung Fu Guy and Zelda and Mega Man and everyone. Bowser is in this, too. It's hilarious. We had our premiere party last night, and we got to screen the first 6 episodes, and I'm really proud to be a part of this because it's not your usual, like, web series. It's like a TV series on the web. It's great budget. It looks beautiful. The writing is stellar, and the acting and, of course, the editing and just the humor is great, too. So join us. More gamer fun, more hero fun.
I've got another caller. Area code 818. You're on Superhero Academy with Tonya Kay.
Hello?
818. Yes, who have I got here?
Hi. Hi, my name's Brian.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, hi. So, Tonya, since you travel around the world so much, what's the one most surprising experience that you found traveling abroad that you could take back to us in the States?
Whoa. Well, I'm going to name, good question. I'm going to name, like, a very surprising experience because I could get bogged down in thinking what is the most. A very surprising experience. Oh, here's a good one. This isn't really on the environmental tip or anything, but I was in Tokyo, and I was shooting a music video with Nami Amuro. She's a very big pop star over there. And there were a lot of surprising experiences, including, hanging out with one of my dancer friends after the music video shoot. We partied. We partied in Tokyo. She lives there. She speaks Japanese, and she's from the United States. So she was a great guide. We toured all around the cool neighborhood. We're going to find a club, and we're going to go out and dance all night. I couldn't read anything on the signs. I don't speak Japanese yet. And only one sign could I read, and, of course, it drew me in. There was a sandwich board, and it was outside a door that led down into the basement underneath the other brilliantly lit shops. And the sign said, "Death Capsule." And that's the only English words I could read. In all of Tokyo, I swear, it said "Death Capsule." And I was like, Carrie, we have to go. We have to go into the basement and find out what the Death Capsule is. And this experience was so magnificent for me. I went down there, and there's this handsome Japanese man. It was just him behind the bar. And it was us two white girls coming down. And we must have been early in bar terms. And he was standing there with like a meat cleaver and a huge chunk of ice. And he was chipping at it, and it was so zen. I was loving it, every moment of it. It was weird trance music, and I think Clockwork Orange was playing on the video screen or something, and it was very eerie. And we're entering a place that says Death Capsule on the sandwich board, and he's chipping away at this piece of ice. And then I watch him, and he finishes it. He takes it and runs it underneath the faucet, and the ice becomes, when you run water over it, becomes shiny like a mirror. It was just like glass then. It was a perfect sphere. And then he opens up the bar back, the freezer, and he deposits this one piece of perfectly rounded spherical and glass-like ice into a freezer full of exactly the same thing, just this treasure chest of globes of ice. And later, we're sitting at the bar trying to communicate. We order a glass of umeshu. Well, first we try to order the Death Capsule, like, what's going on with Death Capsule? And he didn't speak English, but he held out his hand, and he had a red pill and a blue pill, and I'm not kidding you. This is really surprising, and I did not expect this. And thank goodness my mother, I'm from Michigan, and my mom raised me right, and she said, I'm pretty sure sometimes she said to me growing up, when in a foreign country, do not take the Death Capsule. So I refused to take the Death Capsule, but I did order umeshu, which is plum wine. And to my delight, when he served, the plum wine came not in a wine glass, but in a tumbler. And he placed one of those beautiful spherical pieces of ice perfectly into this tumbler. It fit perfectly and poured just probably 3 ounces of umeshu over it, and that's how the umeshu was cooled. And my sensual, tactile, all my senses were just absolutely enlivened and turned on and inspired. So that was a pretty surprising experience, that whole thing.
That's pretty awesome. That's so cool. Like, you can't make that up.
I could not make that up.
I hate to interrupt this. I wish we'd keep going. We only get about 30 minutes on the air every week, so we got about 5 minutes left. And Tonya, I'd like to just extend an invitation down the road to have you back on. You are an amazing guest, and you have so much stuff going on. I told you earlier you had to be triple to do everything that you do, and I want to thank you for setting an example for the rest of us in this world, in the superhero community, and the world in general. So thank you for being on the air and for everything you're doing.
Thanks. You're welcome. Thanks for really focusing on what makes people super heroic. This isn't just about being drawn as a comic book character. It's about how you live your life, and all of us are heroic if we choose to be.
Definitely. It's about doing what needs to be done. And I remember the first season of Who Wants to Be a Superhero, there was a day that really, you just kind of stood out for me when they talked about who would you get rid of on the show, and you made a little speech about you see everybody else there's a superhero and you didn't see it in yourself, and you voted to put yourself off the show. It is like that's the kind of heart that every person that's a hero should have. And I knew when you said that right there, I said that's the hero, and you've shown that to me over the past seems like 100 years since that series was on, but you give of yourself, and that's what makes you a hero. That's what makes you worthy to bring on the air here and share with the rest of us. I would like you to send me the link of the information on that travel tourist, what you called it. That's definitely something I would like to share on the blog and on maybe even on the Blog Talk web page there, because there's others like myself that would be willing to give our vacation time for something along that lines, if we could travel and do some work with elephants or whatever that situation might be, whatever presents itself through that options. So if you could send me that information, and I would appreciate that. Again, I would share that and pass it on to my fellow academians here and the people over on the RLSH.org and .net, because like I said, there's many of us that could benefit from that piece of information.
Thank you.
We've got about 3 minutes.
I'm going to post it in the chat room right now, so everybody look out in the chat room for some links coming through. I hope they split up. There's about 4 there. And if you can pass those on, I'll send them to you individually as well. Okay.
Yeah, you can send that all to me through Facebook. I'll try to copy and paste it here so I can do it later, but send it to me through Facebook also later, since you're now one of my Facebook friends. And again, that's another. I'm just a big fan. I know I'm gushing here. But thank you for being on the show. Next week, everybody, we're going to end the show here in about a minute with our favorite closing theme. But next week is going to be an interesting show. We have the amazing Amazonia will be back with us, and we are going to be talking about Kitty Genovese. If you're not familiar with the sad case of Kitty Genovese, go online, look it up. It's a very humbling experience when you see what this poor lady's life, how it ended, and we want to make sure we don't have any more of those. So we're going to be discussing the apathy that led to that situation. A little less upbeat than the show this week. Tonya, thank you for calling in, and I definitely want to have you back on the air somewhere down the road, okay?
Thank you so much, Crossfire. Thanks, Superhero Academy.
All right, and here we go. As we close out, I will see everybody next week, same cross time, same cross channel for the Superhero Academy. On behalf of Tonya Kay and all my callers, I want to thank everybody for calling in, for being in the chat room, and for listening. Y'all have a great day. I'll see you on the high road.
We're men. We're men in tights. We roam around the forest looking for light. We're men. We're men in tights. We run from the ridge and get to the poor. That's right. We may look like cities, but what would you say, or else we'll put out your light. We're men. We're men in tights. Always on guard, defending the people's rights. La 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 We're men, we're men in tights. Yeah, we roam around the forest looking for fight. We're men in tights. We run from the rich and give to the poor. That's right.